Hello and welcome to Transcendental Transformation, the place where spirituality and transformation unite. Host Miss Raina imparts truth so that you can break through your limiting beliefs and evolve into a deeper consciousness. As you go about your day, remember, before every breakthrough, there is a breakdown. And now, let's start the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Transcendental Transformation. I'm your host, Miss Raina, and today is Tuesday, March 6, 2018. As always, we are coming live from the W4CY studios here in West Palm Beach, and I hope everyone has had an amazing week so far. This weekend, I had a doubleheader in our football. Our football season started. I'm so excited. We lost the first game, and we won the second one, and I'm kind of digging this new team. It was fun. It was a great group of girls, and a lot of times you never know what kind of team you're going to end up and everything, but we're all supportive of each other. Everybody kind of believed in each other, and I gotta tell you, what's nice about teams like this is when you have a game like I did. Like, I have really good hands. I can catch a lot, and I can catch very well, I should say, if I'm going to use proper English, but I gotta tell you, I had stone hands. Like, every pass that they passed, even if it was just like a little lateral pass, they just bounced off my hands and just right to the ground. And what was funny is they supported me. They knew they knew how I normally play, and we just kind of laughed and had a good time. And surprisingly, we only lost by 1 touchdown. So, I think it's going to be a fun season. Originally we were going to be just playing in kind of like a fun free-for-all tournament, but then they changed it to our season. But then they combined the fun team with the fun teams with the competitive teams. So we held up pretty good against a bunch of 20-year-olds. Our team is a little bit older, and and only losing by 1 touchdown and going toe to toe with a bunch of these girls that are 20 that play flag football on a regular basis and sports all the time. I think we're doing pretty well. But yeah, I had no touchdowns this weekend, no interceptions yet, and I stress yet because this week, I'm not going to be playing football this week. I have a softball tournament, but soon. And so this weekend I have a softball tournament. It's called pink ball, and what we do is the pink ball is done a couple times a year, and it helps raise money for cancer such as breast cancer. And it's a great time. I love playing these tournaments and stuff and supporting people who are going through a hard time. And it's all good because, there's no one's playing for money. No one's playing for bats or jerseys or contracts or anything like that. So everyone's just out there having a good time, and it's for a good cause. And hey, why not? So if you want to come out and support it, it's in Boca. I don't know the exact address and everything like that, but pay attention to my social media. I'll post it. It's just Saturday all day, and it's for a great cause. So come on out, support us, and support people who are going through something hard. Chad, how are you doing this week?
What's going on? What's going on with you?
Not much. Well, you hear me. What's going on with you?
Oh, well, this week I'm getting married.
Are you really?
Yep,
wow.
Tying the knot.
Wow, congratulations.
Settling down.
I'm sorry.
Right, I just went and signed my life away. I felt a little weird today.
Oh,
you got to go, to the courthouse, and you got to sign these papers. I'm like, it's so weird that, the state is involved with a love relationship, Well, it's just weird to me.
Well, they want their money, you know that.
Yeah. I'm like, is it this easy to divorce? Is it easy to get married? She's like, oh, no, it's much harder.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, you get me in the way in, you get me in the way out. Gotcha.
Yes. They want to make sure it's a hard challenge for you either way.
I just don't get it. But anyway, tying the knot, got the rings, got the place to do the reception, all that. But what I'm really excited about is that we're going to Tennessee.
Oh, when?
All next week.
Oh, nice.
And I forgot to talk to you about that. I was like, what are we doing with next week's show?
Yeah, I don't know.
You were supposed to send me something or tell me something.
Well, you know how I am. I get all busy and forgetful, and then you got to email me 20 times.
Well, I'm glad I reminded you on air.
I would have shown up. I would have shown up last week with the doors locked. They're like, hey, where you at?
Oh, this isn't funny. No, so we're getting hitched and honeymooning in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Got a nice little cabin tucked away there in the Smoky Mountains. And we're hearing little rumors that we got snow flurries.
Really?
So we'd love to see some snow coming down. Maybe not stick, but at least, shower us a little bit and go out there and dance in the snow or something. But that's what's going on in my world.
Ah, well, congratulations. I wish I was there to see it. And yes, snow is pretty, but, when it does stick and get all dirty.
We don't need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
So
we like when it falls and it melts right away when it hits the ground.
That would be nice. Unless you're skiing, then you want it to stick.
Then you need a little stick or you're going to hurt yourself.
Where are you getting married at?
We're just doing it right here in Wellington on my sister's husband's father's polo field.
Your sister's husband's father. Okay.
What would that make him to me? I don't know. That's the route I took.
Yeah, that's too much.
Sister's husband's father's polo field. So there's a nice little patio, gazebo out there. So we thought we'd just do it out there, high noon on the polo field, underneath God, do our vows. And afterwards, just kind of like feed the wild animals. We got horses, goats, donkeys, all sorts of little things there.
That's amazing. Are you having a lot of people? Or
no, it's going to be very private, just like family or something. Yeah. I mean, I think, Heather will probably throw something out there. I don't know. I'm not big into, I don't know, spotlighting myself. Here I am getting married. Everyone come to my wedding. I'm not like that. It's like, you want to come, you can come. Don't bring a gift either.
Oh, very nice. I don't have to. If I ever came, I wouldn't have to bring it. That's my kind of party.
We just want witnesses, and afterwards, you want to, go feed the horses and have a bite to eat with us and some champagne. That's fine.
Oh, very
That's about
nice. Well, congratulations. I wish you two the best.
Thank you very much. On with the show.
On with the show. Yes. If you'd like to give us a call at 561-623-9429. Web chat me on the W4CY.com website and download the W4CY radio app. And as always, we are recording live at Periscope right now. If you don't know what Periscope is, it's an app where you can find me at Transcendental13. And of course, we are recording live for the YouTube archive at youtube.com/transcendental transformation. So tonight's show, originally I was supposed to do a show on fear. I was going to talk all about fears and everything, and then I got to talking to some people today in between going to the dog park, because I went to the dog park. I've been taking Nara to the dog park a lot and taking pictures of all the dogs, and I'm having a good time with that right now because I'm just kind of healing with everything that's going on and enjoying the break from my work and everything. And I got to talking to some people, and they were talking about, trying to find themselves and trying to find out who they are and their place in life. And you know what? It really is hard in our society and in life anywhere you go to really, kind of get to know who you are and, ask the question, who am I? And a lot of times if I ask the question to who am I or to who are you, you start listing, well, I like this and I like the show and I like, to play sports and I like to do that. But those things don't make us who we are. And we get so lost sometimes in a world because we've been taught and conditioned to, to trying to put on this face and try to outdo each other. And it's a big competition in our life that for many of us, a lot of times we start building barriers. We start to change who we are. We walk away from who we are because of our belief systems or what we're taught. And even if something doesn't feel right, we still go along with it because we just figured, hey, it's easier to go along with something, even if I don't believe in it or even if it doesn't feel right, than to get laughed at. And, the journey to self-discovery is really, that's what it's all about, is finding who we are. It's a journey. It may take several lifetimes, and all the time I always say, if you've listened to the show, I always say each lifetime that you come here is a new journey to self-discovery because you're a different person, you're a different character, you have all these different new experiences and challenges ahead, and every lifetime that you're here, you have to find out who you are. And yeah, that seems like a lot of work, doesn't it? It seems like I know some of you are thinking, oh my God, I got to come back and do this. Well, you've already been holding back, and you've done this several times. And so you have to find out who you are each time. And I think sometimes, even though we're in a different body, sometimes I think our soul, when we get here, it gets a little exhausted. But, when the first thing that we end up doing to protect ourselves, like I said, is we build boundaries. And boundaries are these ideas that we think that are going to keep us safe. We think that sometimes if we put up a boundary, we put up a front, we put up all these ideas to make it seem like we're somebody or somebody different, that, that life isn't going to roll us over, or it's not going to hurt us as much. And for those of you who are sensitive, and I imagine that everyone who listens to my show is a sensitive or some type of empath or something like that, or sensitive emotionally in some type of way. Sometimes we protect ourselves that way, and we have to learn to allow ourselves to be ourselves without these barriers, because our barriers block us from our path. If you're inside your house and you lock the door, are you going, you'll feel safe, at night when we lock the doors, we feel safe and stuff. We're going to go to bed and everything like that. But if you go to walk out those doors without twisting those locks off and everything like that, are you going to walk through the door? No, you won't. If you go in a car and you start driving and all of a sudden you go down a blocked path and all of a sudden construction is and the road is blocked, you could try to drive through it, but it's going to damage your car and everything like that. And that's kind of what we do in a mental and emotional aspect of barriers. And so, a lot of us do feel like we're running into that brick wall. I was talking to even the owner here, where I was talking about, things in my life are changing and everything. And I was talking to my protege about an hour ago about how things are different. And everybody's like, oh, Miss Raina, your life is changing. You're just, you're not doing this anymore, and you're not doing that. So what are you going to do? You've done this for 40 years. And, and what's nice about it's kind of like, even though I know who I am, it's still kind of adventurous to kind of explore other options, because I think a lot of us become fearful because of our own boundaries. As much as they are to protect us, they also keep us from rediscovering who we are. And I always tell people, the best thing you can do is trying to rediscover is just go do something that you wanted to do. And it sounds so simple. It sounds so easy. And, then people are going to say, well, Miss Raina, I don't know what I want to do. But, when you get to know yourself a little bit better, you're going to know exactly what the things you want to do. And as I was telling my protege, Caleb, today, I was like, he's like, well, what are you going to do? I was like, what? Right now, it's not a concern to me. I know what I have to do. I know what my next step is. I know what my next phase is what I want to do. But right now, it just feels great just taking a break, because we do need to give ourselves a little bit of a break when we're running into those brick walls, because we feel like we're never getting anywhere. And what does that end up doing? It makes us want to give up. It makes us not accept who we are or the situations in life as is. And, we won't accept the change that needs to happen. And isn't that most likely what is going on? Because, before all this change was happening in my life, things started to fall apart. And when things fall apart in our perception, we take it personally. Well, what am I doing wrong? What's going on? Why aren't people coming to me? Why is this? Or whether it's business or relationships or personal life. And a lot of times, as the old saying goes, those things that we no longer need have to exit before the new stuff that comes in. And yes, we've heard that. And that's so cliche when it comes to the spiritual world, but we really resist that. And I know that anybody that struggles with change, anybody that struggles with trying to find themselves, doesn't adapt to change. They build their walls up to keep people out, to keep situations out, but they also box themselves in. And, I was talking to someone, I belong to these little chat groups and stuff like that. I like chatting with people all over the world and everything, and, kills time when I'm working and doing things, because I'm always in my office doing stuff and preparing stuff. But it gets me to know other people around the world. It gets me to know people in different countries, different states in the United States here, and kind of see difference of opinions and how people act. And, it really shows me. And I met someone who's really a really nice person and everything like that, really wonderful person. But because they were hurt, they built these walls of boundaries. They look at it and they say, I don't want to get hurt anymore. I don't want to, I don't want anyone to do that. I played the fool once, I've played the fool twice, and the next thing I know, but I'm never going to play the fool again. And they give up on themselves to the point of they don't believe in themselves. And when we do that, we're not going to find anything that we're looking for, because we become emotionally attached to an idea that doesn't make sense to us, and that blinds us, that builds the barriers of not going along in our journey. And so when we look at that, I say, well, if I were to ask you the question, like, so, if you could go to somebody that had all the answers, or if you found something that can give you all the answers and stuff like that, what would that look like to you? What would you ask the person or the people or the book or wherever you're getting these answers from? What would you ask it? And why would you feel that you need guidance from somebody else or something else to understand what part of the journey that you're looking for in your journey of self-discovery? Because, if like a lot of people, we pray to these ideas of gods and goddesses, angels, spirit guides, the universe, the list goes on. And we all have different belief systems and structures and stuff, and we rely on these things. We become subservient to these ideas that somebody else is going to do it for us. That if we pray to this thing or pray to that or chant this and throw flowers in the air at this time of day, that we're going to manifest these things, because we become, as I said, subservient to the idea that we're not capable of doing it. So why are we so lost in that thing? Could it be, like I always say on the show, could it be theories of spirituality? Could it be theories of religion? Could it be theories of politics? Could it be theories of the way our experiences have brought us about? I mean, if we look at life and we think that if we look at life and say, okay, well, one theory or one size fits all theory kind of does, then we know that we're in for trouble, because I'm sorry that, no two persons in this world think exactly alike. I don't care who you are. I don't care how best of friends you are and stuff like that. No one thinks exactly like 100%. And so this theory of one size fits all, a lot of times we think that, I read a book, and whether, and obviously I deal with spirituality. So, the law of attraction has to be this way. And so I got to do it this way. And then it doesn't work for you, but it worked for this person, and we don't understand why. Or I'm trying to I took a class and I do this, and all of a sudden it worked for all these people, but it's not working for me. And, and this is where we got to expand our mind, because if you believe in the theories of one size fits all to everything, then this is going to limit. And this is why it is so important that whether you work with someone or you don't, or you're on this journey by yourself, which I highly recommend that you, find this journey within yourself. That's one of the reasons why when I tell people, and people never believe me, that I've never read or taken a spiritual class. Everything I've done is through meditation and transferring from the other side and everything, and connecting to that thing we call our higher selves, which is basically us and the knowledge that we have within us already. But, it's because of that, because that allows you to expand who you are. It allows you to get away from these theories, because a lot of people, a lot of things in life, even in language, if you take language, how many things, if you understand it, how many things do we do that are translated, that are said one thing in one language, and then when they translate it, it's not really translated the way it was meant in that language. And it's the same thing in our theories in life. A lot of times people put their assumptions on it, and they think that, well, this is what I think it means, or this is what it means to me. And it may be correct, it may not, it may be the way they're perceiving everything, but it doesn't seem to work for you. And so this is why we have to get away, and we have to look at this and say, okay, well, if I don't know about this, do I take the chance, or do I even try to exercise these theories? Do I try to exercise these ideas? Do I not even apply them? Because most of the time, and we don't apply, truthfully, we don't apply what we've learned to life. We hear about it, we talk about it, we say, oh, the law of karma is going to get you, and we act like it's a major punisher, and we don't understand what karma is really about. We have all these ideas and stuff, and we just kind of live our lives with these ideas in our head, but we don't really put them into action. And that's because we don't believe, if you're still on the journey to self-discovery, which everybody kind of is, and that then we really don't, there's some part of us that really doesn't believe that it's going to happen, or we don't believe in ourselves enough, or maybe we've put those boundaries up. So, I always say, grab a theory and see what we can understand from it. Grab a theory and see if there's something you don't understand. And when we grab a theory and we look at it and we say, well, I don't understand this, and how can I get to understanding in my way? Then we can start to open up to that theory. We'll be right back after these messages from the Life of Raina.
A message from the Life of Raina. We live in a world faced with many tough challenges. Our lives become chaotic and filled with disaster ever so quickly, most of the time before we even realize. Our issues beat down our mental mindset, and an imbalance of emotions become prevalent. The Life of Raina is dedicated to helping people on the deepest spiritual level. Miss Raina, the creator of Transcendental Development and Growth, works on your core issues and finds the solutions which allow you to break free from the emotional bondages of life, helping you achieve the life you've always wanted to live. Isn't it time that you lived life for you? Call the Life of Raina, 561-846-2190, and schedule your appointment today. That's 561-846-2190. Or email thelifeofraina@icloud.com.
Okay, we are back. You're listening to Miss Raina on W4CY.com and Transcendental Transformation. If you'd like to give us a call and talk about something, the number is 561-623-9429. Okay, so we're talking about theories and understanding theories and how to understand a theory, especially when we don't know about it. And the first thing I always tell people is we have to learn to crawl before we learn to walk or run. And a lot of times we want to go to the hurry up offense. We think we got 2 minutes left, we're down by a touchdown or whatever theory you could tell them in football season, and we want to rush out and just be the master all the time. And this is the trick that we fall under, because we think that in order for us to discover ourselves, that we have to be something. We have to be the teacher or the master or the person that makes all the money in order to give us some type of validation. But a lot of times, and I've talked to many people over these years and that's why a lot of coaches have come to me over the years, and psychologists and everything, because we don't understand the theories that we're teaching. And this is huge to understand who we are, because why do you believe in something? Why do you feel that this is going to work in your favor? Why do you feel this isn't working in your favor? Or why do you believe in the idea of being stuck? Because a lot of people who can't find their journey, or think that they're not on a journey to self-discovery, or feel so lost, use that term stuck. And Caleb did something last week, and I kind of was spying on his little thread there, and he talked about something going on and said, when you're feeling in life, when you feel stuck in life, what do you do to move on? What do you do to try to? And everybody gave their theory of how they're doing it and everything like that, and I kind of watched the answers and stuff, and I thought, okay, well, that's some of those I can understand and stuff, and but their mind of their definition of stuck, or what they're doing, or why they're stuck, is the same theory that we're talking about. If you're feeling stuck in your journey, if you're trying to find your who you are and answer these questions and trying to find out where you're going to go, and then you're not understanding why you are the way you are. I always tell people, that wherever you are, that's where you're supposed to be, and wherever, and that means even in that moment of feeling stuck, even in that moment of lostness that you may feel, you're exactly where you need to be, because those moments are those moments of time where you're supposed to be resting or analyzing and understanding who you are and why you feel this way. And that's one of the reasons why I push back from my work. I knew there was big changes coming up. I'm dealing with an illness, and it's going to take a while for me to get healthy healthy again, and I need to think about me right now, number one. And, the world's going to keep going. And, but I have to understand what I need to do for my next step of my journey. And, and the journey's always changing. And, a lot of people will tell you, oh, enjoy the journey, take the scenic route, enjoy it. And that's true. We want to do that. But, understanding what we're doing is very important, because you have to adapt to these things. Like if I was talking about the law of attraction, I told you before that we all know about the law of attraction. That book came out, The Secret. It came out. We're just gonna manifest the boat and the money and all the boyfriends and the girlfriends and everything that we want. But we're chasing the material items because we think we're going to have the gratification. We think that all these ideas are going to bring us to this journey of self-discovery. But we're also taught that it's just the mind. Oh, just picture it up here in the mind, write it on a wish board, and it's going to poof, it comes through. And I don't know how many people have told me, Miss Raina, that doesn't work for me. I haven't, or something completely different came to me. And I said, well, yeah, because, I could picture an apple and put a picture of an apple on there and then go to Whole Foods and, maybe I get something different or whatever, but something will always come up because it's if I really want that. But we have to look at it, and it sounds fabulous that, hey, if I just picture it, that it's going to happen, but the groundwork has to be done. You have to be able to put effort into it. You have to be able to put some type of feeling in it. You can't just picture something and expect something just to pop up, because it doesn't work that way. They don't understand that it's not the thought that creates the power. It's not that. It's the feeling behind it. It's living it. It's understanding who you are and what you truly desire. And a lot of times our desires are superficial because we don't know who we are. And down here in Florida, I gotta say, I see a lot of that. I run into a lot of people with a lot of nice, expensive things, and that's great if they work hard, and do the stuff. But when those objects own you, and they are the very existence, and you think you understand who you are because you have all these things, but then when all of a sudden all those things are taken away, and then you fall apart, well, then that's a false sense of discovery. And so when you're looking at the law of attraction or anything like that, then, it's really the feeling behind it. If you believe in yourself, if you know what you want, because, hey, even if even in paganism or witchcraft or anything like that there's, magic and Buddhism, there's that. No matter what form of religion or spirituality, they all have their forms of magic, of manifesting. And it doesn't matter if you call it praying or magic or whatever, it's still manifesting because you want something, you're desired to. So whether you're asking for something or trying to create it yourself, it's still that same concept. And so you have to be able to put this feeling behind feeling. And so a lot of times in your journey, it's a life thing. It is a life thing. There's no finish line. There's no medal. There's nothing that we're going to go chasing. There's nothing that, we're going to get an attaboy or an attagirl at the end of our journey and say, hey, congratulations, you did amazing, blah, 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 blah. And you got all these things and you're just, on the track to the way you need to go. Because even what we're chasing is a balanced life. Like how many people sit there and we say, oh, well, I want a balanced life. I want to be balanced. And a lot of us hear that comment thing. But if I ask you, what does balanced mean? You can't answer that. You can't. Well, you might say, well, it's when you're just evened out all the time. Nothing bothers you. Well, that's not balanced. Well, it's when you're happy all the time and you don't get upset. Well, that's not balanced either. Because our idea of what we think balanced is, and this is why we're running, I always give the symbolism of a dog chasing its tail, because I don't know how many people will sit there and say that they're balanced, but then they're chaotic in their personal life. They appear one thing, they try to teach all this thing, and I've met people, and believe me, people, I'm not knocking anything. We all go through things where we become, where life gets challenging. Hey, even me right now, I'm very emotional. I have had had, being sick, I've had a lot of things. I've been a little bit more quick to be angry and angered. Does that mean I don't know who I am or that things have gone out of whack? No. Being balanced means that you understand who you are and work through the challenges that are arising, and don't let them take you over. They don't control you. If you're controlled by your anger, if you're controlled by your grief, if you're controlled by your victimhood, then yes, that would be out of balance, if you want to use that term. And I don't like using the term balance because I don't believe in it. I think it's an idea, just like many ideas that we have, that keeps us chasing our tails and keeps us in judgment. If we take the idea that, in order to be balanced, I have to be kumbaya all the time and perfect and happy, and when I'm not, that means I'm doing something wrong, then look at all the judgment and chaos that happens. So the idea of, let's say, reaching a spiritual goal, without maintaining it is a little bit silly if we kind of think about it. I mean, if you work out, if you eat healthy, if you go on a diet and then all of a sudden you lose all this weight and then you go back the moment you get off the diet and you go back to, eating all the junk food and not exercising, is your body going to stay the same? Absolutely not. And so why do we think that, that we're going to achieve this goal and then it's just going to be, rainbows and sunshine the rest of the way? There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be changes. And that's the wonderful thing about finding out who you are. Because imagine being the same person throughout your whole life without anything changing, and I mean, some of you may think, hey, that's great, but not me. I love rediscovering different avenues about Miss Raina. I love rediscovering different talents and different things that maybe things I never even thought I knew. And I love watching my friends and people I care about change and transform. That's the true journey of self-discovery, is understanding that, hey, I believed in things when I was 15. That doesn't mean I believe in things when I was 30, because I've evolved. I've matured in certain ways. I believe in things now that in 20 years I will evolve, and I may not think the same way. And that's the truth about it. But the thing that we're looking at, and this is hard for a lot of people, is self-discipline. Self-discipline, or discipline, I should say, is very tough for people because, as I said, patience is a killer. I know I get my Achilles heel right now, and for a lot of my life, has always been in the car. When I get anxiety and my anxiety goes through the roof and I feel trapped, I start getting there, and it's a very big challenge for me, and I've been trying to learn discipline in that area. But when it comes to you have to have discipline. That's why, when I teach people one-on-one with my program and everything, that's the first thing I instill is responsibility and discipline. And the people that really, really want the help, they understand that. The people that don't get mad at me or get upset and try to, fight with me over things and stuff. And it's because they really don't understand that it takes patience, it takes understanding, and it takes compassion towards yourself and your life and your journey, that this is not going to be done overnight. I mean, I don't know how many times with Caleb, I've told him over, and he still asks. It's kind of like a running joke now, but he'll be like, oh, so you think I'll ever get it done this lifetime? And I laugh each and every time, and I just shake my head, and I was like, one day you'll understand. When you're disciplined and you have the patience, you'll understand that even if it takes you 200 lifetimes, that's the journey, and you need to enjoy the journey. You need to understand the journey and have fun with it, because whether I'm a girl this lifetime, a guy next lifetime, or if I believe in Christianity one lifetime and then paganism or Buddhism, or if I'm Democratic or Republican or libertarian or whatever it is, that's the journey that I'm on, and that's where I'm at that moment, and that's where we have to evolve from. But you must be evolving in those that understand. If we don't have discipline, if you don't have discipline in your life, then life is always going to be chaotic. There's always going to be chaos when that type of thing happens. So, but don't be ashamed of your experiences. The number one thing that I get talked about all the time and during the journey is people are like, well, Miss Raina, I've had a lot of things that have happened to me in my life, and there's a lot of things that I've done in my life that I'm ashamed of. And I said, why? Why would you be ashamed of something? And they said, well, it's embarrassing because, I've acted this way, and one time I blew up and I caused all this chaos and this and that, or I said things I didn't mean, or maybe I even did do it, but I just, but that's part of it. That's part of learning discipline and patience patience and all that stuff. You need to find a way to let go of those things, and not in the sense of forgetting them, because when we say let go, and I want to make this very clear, when we say let go, that doesn't mean like, oh, don't put it in the past and never remember it. Those ideas are there for you to learn and constantly be a reminder of your growth. So when people say let go, what they should mean is that let go of the pain and the conditioning and the idea of the hard grip that you have on, of the punishment that you're punishing yourself for acting a certain way. Because hey, I've blown up, I've gone into fights, I've done things that I'm not proud of, and we all have. I don't know one person on this earth, nobody has done something that they're not ashamed of, or does something, they've got anger and blown up, or done anything. We've all done it. And so but that's the victim in us, and that's the victim that tries to say that holds us back. But really, you have to give yourself permission to let go. You have to give yourself permission to open the door and say, hey, it's time for me to walk through that door. I'm going to be honest with you, the world is going to hurt you at times. There are going to be mean people. There are going to be people that are going to lie, cheat, steal, stab you in the back. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's a fact of life. You can either victimize yourself, or you can have self-discipline and patience and understanding and compassion and say, you know what? I need to work on myself so that I can become more efficient at understanding when these people, are going to do this, and being observant and all these things. And when you get to know who you are, and that's always how I can tell if someone truly knows who they are. Because if they're constantly having bad relationships or toxic relationships, I should say, and and they're bouncing from job to job, and there's always anger and chaos in everything that they do, and there's always some sort of drama, then they don't know who they are, because they're attracting that, they're putting that in their lives to tell them that they're not good enough, because that's all drama is. I mean, I go on social media all the time, and I see all these people trying to act tough and trying to be like they don't care, and that don't mess with me, I'm a badass, oh, did I just say that? And and all these ideas, but all I see is someone who's trying to find themselves, who's hurt, who's in pain, who's trying to find themselves on their journey, and thinks that the harder that they act, the more tough that they act, the more it's going to bring them to it. And they're ashamed of their ideas. They're ashamed of the things, because I have a good friend that just went through a bad breakup, and every day I see, oh man, I'm such a fool for not seeing this earlier. I'm such an idiot. And they just put themselves down. But you have to allow yourself to release that grip and walk through that door, and get rid of the fear of judgment. Get rid of the fear of the journey. For some things, we're going to lose things. You're going to lose things. I mean, if I stayed the same, I would still be in Chicago. I'd be I'd be owning my dad's company. I would be doing a job that I wasn't happy at. I'd be in an area that I wasn't happy at, all for these ideas, because I'm afraid. And you know what? I went all over this country doing different things. And yeah, sometimes I'm broke. Sometimes I was making good money. Sometimes I have friends. Sometimes I don't. Things happen in these things, and life and that, but it's not going to get me down on my journey. And even when people come, because I know a lot of times we have experiences where we tend to see things, or we tend to invite people in our life that always point the finger at us. And I've heard that complaint too today, because someone said, well, every time I go someplace, I do this, I bend over backwards and I do all these things, and then something happens and they point it at me like it's my fault. I say, well, so what? So what? If it's not your fault, then who cares? Why does it bother? Well, because it's not true. Well, so what? If it's not true and you know it, they know it, then why are you upset at that? Well, no, because it's not true, and what are people going to think of me? And that's, again, self-discipline. You don't have the patience, you don't have the understanding or the compassion for who you are. People don't like to take responsibility for themselves. They will blame it on anybody and everybody, because they need to feel that false sense of security that they know who they are. A true person, knows who they are. A true person will take the blame. Okay, you want to blame me? That's fine. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me. But, someone who needs to prove themselves shows that they don't know who they are. And a lot of times when we lose things, relationships or people or anything like that, it holds us back. It holds us back from having the friendships, the jobs, or the ideas that we want to grow, because we stunt our evolution, we stunt our growth. And how can we possibly learn anything if we're in this idea that, something else is going to hurt us? When we let go of the idea of being stuck, it's an idea, it's a perception. It really doesn't exist. If you were truly stuck, you wouldn't be able to move. Time would be standing still. You wouldn't age, and nothing would happen. You'd be stuck at, let's say, what time is it right now? 8:39. You'd be stuck at 8:39 until you got unstuck and if it was a week, you'd still be stuck here at, March 6th at 8:39 for a whole week. And then, let alone, it wouldn't even still be a week, because you'd be stuck at that moment in time. So remember, your idea of stuck is your perception, because your idea of where you need to be is not exactly where you are. And so that's why I'm saying, let go of that idea, let go of that perception that I need this to happen, or this should have happened by now, or, I need to do all this because I need all this to happen in order for me to make myself who I am, because it's a lesson in itself. And, and I enjoy those times when I'm feeling frustrated, when I'm feeling stuck, or when I'm feeling stuck, if we want to say that, I look and I say, okay, well, I see my ego is involved. I believe that I'm trying to be someplace at a certain time. So let's take a look at it and let's see why. Why do I feel stuck? Why do I feel like I'm not moving? Why do I feel like I should be someplace that I'm not? What's the lesson in it for me? What am I not understanding about who I am and what I have to learn? Because, if someone truly does understand that, and then all of a sudden I realize, wow, there's a pattern here. And maybe I had an experience or something's coming back up that I still need to deal with that is causing these patterns. And patterns are huge if you're on this road to discovery, or if you're feeling that stuck, because, our patterns are constantly repeating. I talk about conditioning and patterns and behaviors all the time on this show, because it is so vital to the way we think. It is so vital. If you're angry all the time, there's a pattern. If you believe the world's out to get you all the time, there's a pattern. If you believe everyone's a jerk in the world, there's a pattern. If you believe that you're never going to be anything, it's a pattern. There's a pattern inside your head going all the time. And that's how our brain works. And it's so vital, because you have to learn to think. You have to learn to be able to recognize those patterns and understand those patterns. Who cares about tomorrow? And I know people have written books like Live in the Now or something like that. I don't know. I haven't read them. But, there's all these people talking about living in the now. But then we stress over what's going to happen tomorrow. And that's the pattern that we have to look at, even with our health. I'm looking at this tomorrow, I'm looking at my health and I'm saying, well, a lot of people are saying, well, what are you going to do tomorrow, Miss Raina? What are you going to do with your business? What are you going to do with all these things? And I said, I don't know. I don't care. Right now is today. Right now is Tuesday, March 6th at 8:42. And all I care about is talking to you wonderful people, doing this. And that's all I care about. I don't even care about 9 o'clock when the show ends. That doesn't matter to me. And getting healthier. And when the show does, getting back to my health is my only concern. Because if I'm not healthy, if my physical, mental, or emotional bodies are not healthy, I'm not going to be able to rediscover and transform and go further on my journey than I am. I'm going to put myself into this idea that I'm stuck, or I'm not good enough, or I need all these things to happen, because I feel like I'm supposed to be someplace and I'm not evolving. So, I always tell people I always tell people that a lot of people, we and I see this a lot in younger people, and I know younger people listen to the show too, is a lot of times we become blinded by excitement. We get a new job, or we find something, or we go into something, we want to learn something, and we start learning something, we go all in, we dive right into the subject and stuff, we learn all we can, and then we get burnt out. And then we don't understand. We're like, well, yeah, it's not the same feeling for me, and I don't understand why. Well, that's because you consumed yourself with it. If you want to talk about some ideas of balance and you know, and when to go and everything in that sense, yes, you have to learn to balance rest with, you know, with being able to do stuff. And, you know, I'm guilty of it sometimes too. I'm guilty of working so much because I know I have to work because I got to get things done and everything. But then I also catch myself and say, you know what, Miss Raina, it will get done tomorrow. And when I find my patterns, because I'm tired, I need to rest. I need to do these things. Sometimes I sleep in even. I sleep in later because, and I say, you know what, it doesn't matter that I get up at 8 o'clock compared to 12 o'clock. As long as I get the things done that I want to get done, it doesn't matter. But when you go with that much excitement, it's because you're consuming yourself because you think that this idea is going to make you who you are on your journey. And I've said this already 5 times throughout the show, but no idea, no belief system, no anything like that is going to make you who you are. Just because you believe in something, that doesn't give you validity, that doesn't make you who you are. What makes you who you are is knowing who you are and the choices that you make throughout your life. You can believe in a million things, and if you go in and contradict all of them and treat people meanly and everything like that, you know, those ideas don't make you who you are. So I want you to learn to evolve like that. You know, so how do you evolve? Well, we talked about it, right? We said, well, let's start to get to know, settle down, take one thing at a time and ask yourself, well, you know, what is going on in my life? Why do I feel stuck? Why do I feel like I need to be someplace? If I don't know my journey, well, what is it that I'm into? What is it that I'm interested in? Because the answer to who I am, I always tell people when people ask me that, well, Miss Raina, who are you? I say, I don't care about that. And they said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, I know who I am now, but 10 years, tomorrow, 1 year and stuff, I'm going to evolve. I'm going to change and things are going to be different. And so I know who I am right now. And again, none of these things make me who I am. So don't worry about the question of who I am. Worry about what is it that I want in my life right now that I could start working on. And remember, don't worry about material items. Start working on, okay, well, what emotions do I have? What emotions am I ruled by? What ideas am I ruled by? What are the ideas and emotions that constantly put up roadblocks in my life that stop me from doing what I want to do? Am I always angry? Am I always self-judging? Am I always making fun of people? Am I always doubting myself? Am I always thinking that my way is the best? Because, you know, today I saw on social media, I saw someone post up something, and just to see how people would react, I made a post because I wanted to see how people would react to it. And right away, people started calling me all these names and started reacting with anger and animosity. And I could tell that through that animosity and through that anger, they were trying to find out who they were, because if they acted like they knew something, they felt good about themselves. And it was amazing how many people just opened up with such a rude comment and calling me names about something. And it really was a harmless little thing that was just an open-ended question, and people just attack you. And so those type of ideas are, how do you react to situations? Do you have to be right? Do you have to know? Do you judge people because they don't believe the same things you do, or vice versa? All these ideas are blocking you from your road. And I don't care how young of a soul you are, how old of a soul, it all works the same. It is all the same way throughout all the evolutions. The thing is the reason why you feel stuck is because, or you're not evolving or not being where you are, is because, like I said, those ideas are blocking you from there. So don't worry about those things and just say, hey, let's have a little fun. Let's see what I want. Because how many times do we say what I want? We really don't, right? We always want to do for other people. And I know in the spiritual community that we always do that. We always are taught to give and give and give, but we forget about ourselves. And that's the most important thing, is what is it that I want? What is it that's blocking me? And what is it that I'm going to do in order for me to become the person that I want to be? All right, everybody, that is tonight's show. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to you guys again. If you'd like to follow us on our Facebook at facebook.com/transcendental transformation. Visit my YouTube at youtube.com/transcendental transformation. Visit my website at soulandspiritguide.com. Make sure you sign up for the VIP access to the website and special guest offers. You can always email me with your questions. You know I love to answer you guys back at transcendentaltransformations@gmail.com. Make sure you visit the w4cy.com website, and always remember to believe in yourself, and it's not our abilities or our talents that make us who we are, but it is our choices. Thank you and have a great day.